C10 Talk, episode 144. Dude, where's my truck?
We come to a price at $23K, and like, all right, so guess what? Discovery Channel is there, and so we set up a script and we literally do the whole. We film it, and I'm thinking, man, if I'm going to sell a truck, might as well sell it to Richard Rawlings at Gas Monkey Garage, because he's telling me what he's going to do to it. Because as a GMC, he's going to change the letters to GMG and do some other things that would have been pretty bitching for the truck, Like, man, just take it to that next level. He could do it,
Damn, son. When you think air suspension for your build, you think AccuAir. Whether it's the ease of their plug-and-play installation, the E-Level touchpad, or their new Endo platform, it's better by design, and it's zero compromise for you and your truck. AccuAir. Whether you're looking to replace your original steering, update those old brakes, or improve your suspension and handling, Classic Performance Products has got your classic truck covered. Check them out at classicperform.com. That's classicperform.com. When it comes to upgrading your truck's gauges, look no further than Dakota Digital and their wide selection of direct fit instrument systems. Hit up dakotadigital.com for more information. C10 Nation, are you looking to upgrade your power plant? Are you thinking about going with an LS or an LT based motor? If you are, PSI Conversions is your go-to for your wiring harness needs. psiconversions.com/C10 Talk.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 Truck podcast. Here's your host, Ronnie Wetch.
C10 Nation, listen up. We got a good one for you. Kicking things off, episode 144, a little what the hell happened? I lost my truck. Kirk got his truck stolen. 1969 GMC. That's merely part of the story. So we'll jump into that, but I've got a few things for you this week. Rolling along, and you guys are kind of getting a week to week here. So let me know what you think about that. I've got so many, guests I need to get out, and I've been cranking them out. So I'm kind of thinking 3 to 4 a month, and then one of those being an OBS. So if you guys go back a few episodes, if you're kind of just getting caught up, we're going to start dropping some OBS episodes, old body style, 88 to 98. And that has been I've been hearing you on that. I've been hearing the reviews. I've been hearing you liking that, and that has been met with some rave reviews. So that's pretty awesome that you guys are digging that, and we'll keep cranking those out. And some of the C10 guys, obviously, there's enough lineage there where some guys have C10s and OBS, a little bit of both. So there'll be some crossover for sure. OBS Talk will not be a new podcast. It's only going to be, OBS takeovers every now and then. Like I said, maybe once a month to kind of integrate that and get the OBS guys some love as well. So don't expect it to be its own podcast. That's too much work for me. I'm just going to keep on trucking with what we got going. We got a little raffle going this month to wrap things up, and it'll end on July 31st. So if you buy anything C10 Nation, C10 Talk, www.c10talk.no. Yeah, well, you can go C10 Talk, but C10 Nation is better. So c10nation.com and or c10talk.com. They'll take you to the same spot, and you can buy something. If anything you buy, 25 or more, you're going to get a raffle ticket. That raffle ticket is going to get you a prize. So you're going to get a $50 gift card for C10 Talk, C10 Nation. I've got one set of the AutoZone 40-year anniversary trucks. I've got some hats. I've got some shirts. I've got some stickers. I've got some builder's guides. I've got some coloring books from the C10 crew. So stuff that I have that's brand new, and I'm just going to give it back. So giving back to the nation, giving back to the guys and girls, moms and dads, and you guys are out there buying stuff. So I appreciate that, and just stuff that I have, and I figure you guys would like it. Especially that little AutoZone. I grabbed an extra one when I was on my travels, so why not give it back? Another thing about giving back, let me see here where I'm at on this. I have not done this for a while, and I really, I suck. I need to do this. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy letting you guys know that I hear you. So I'm going to get back into giving back to the reviews. You guys have been leaving the reviews. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave the reviews. It's a big deal. And iTunes. So here we go. I'm going to kick a few of these off, get caught up. So I'm going to take it back for a little ways here. So if you hear your name and you're like, shit, I left that a long time ago. Yeah, you probably did. So sorry about that. Let's see here. Love this show. 5 stars. Tate Gentry, I think. Tate Gentry. I'm going to go with Tate. Loving the show. Didn't know that there was a C10 community out there until this show. Thank you for the great content. Keep up the great work. Tate 68 Gentry.
5 star. Perfect. Thank you.
Tate, again, I think it's Tate. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. And the community, I mean, it's awesome. And it's one of the best parts, if not the best part of C10 Nation, really. Randall 12V, I've noticed some Instagram stuff from Randall 12V. Good work, guys. 5 stars. Thank you, Randall. As a multiple square body owner, good podcast to listen to. Thank you.
5 star. Perfect. Thank you.
And I'm assuming that's 12 valve, so you're going to like the last episode, or if you haven't listened to it yet, Randall, but 12 valve love with diesel conversion specialists out there in Montana. That was episode 143. Ford guy checking in. Oh, here we go. Proceed with caution. 5 stars. Awesome. Thank you. This is by Stroked F100. I've been listening to the podcast for a few weeks now, starting with AK's episode, Aaron Kaufman, and have been working my way back through the older ones. I absolutely love it. Thank you. You can really feel the passion that Ronnie puts into the scene and getting great material for us listeners from the builders, the owners, the manufacturers. I've really got a soft spot for the 67 to 72 F100s, but absolutely love cool old trucks of any brand. That's pretty rad. So thank you so much. I've found tons of great useful information that I believe will help me with planning my F100 build. Keep up the great work, and I can't wait to see what comes for the future of C10 Talk and the C10 Nation. That's pretty bitchin', dude. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Ford guy checking in.
5 star. Perfect. Thank you.
One more here. Great podcast. 5 stars. Ben LeBlanc. Love the podcast. I am 22 and coming from the hot rod scene. He's got a 30 Ford Coupe, and find that you have good level of technical detail coupled with the best stories. The talks with the builders are the best because they are inspirational and help me keep up with current trends and technology. Thank you for doing what you do. Dude, Ben LeBlanc, 5 stars. Thank you for doing that and leaving a review.
5 star. Perfect. Thank you.
One more because I've got so many to catch up on. Hank 13, 5 stars. Great podcast, Ronnie. I enjoy the enthusiasm you have for the hobby. I listen while in the shop working on my 66 panel. When finished, it will make a great tow rig for my vintage sprint car. Hope to make the trek to the C10s in the park. Keep up the good work. Hank Young 1 on Instagram. Hank, thank you, brother.
5 star. Perfect. Thank you.
You guys, I need to make sure I keep getting those out. I got to write this down. I left on Hank because if I don't, then I get lost. Hank 13. That's probably the biggest reason why I kind of stopped doing those, because I get lost and then I'm like, well, who did I read last and where am I at? So you guys, please take the time to leave us a review. It's a big deal, and we love the 5 stars. So thanks again for doing that. What else do we have? Okay, I've been having a lot of windshield time. So my trip to Montana, and then I just ran my daughter up to Colorado. So I've been getting caught up on a lot of podcasts, and it's been pretty awesome because I enjoy listening. I just sometimes I get so busy. So I just wanted to give a kind of a shout out to not only some of the other podcasts that I listen to, but recommend them, obviously, from an automotive perspective. That's mostly what I'm listening to. I listen to a few other things. A buddy of mine who's a retired cop just started one, so that one's been kind of cool. But I just want to throw these out there. So here's what I listen to. Our Lifestyle, the podcast. Now, Mike the Mayor, obviously, and Jason ODB up in this house. So Our Lifestyle, the podcast, I think their focus is, definitely mostly mini trucker vibe, but they do a lot. I mean, they'll have C10s, OBS, Chevy trucks, Fords. It doesn't matter. Mini trucking is, where their heart is really, but they're keeping it alive. And one thing about Jason, he definitely dives in. He's got he likes old nostalgia. He likes old school stuff, and it's just one of those deals where how passionate he is about it, because he talks about it, and it's really cool, some of the stuff he gets into. So check out Our Lifestyle, the podcast. The new guys that are just coming up blazing is Lightning and Holman from the Truck Show podcast. That one is entertaining as hell. We've met them. They were at LST. They reached out to me. We did a little vibe with it, a little kind of co-op there. I need to get them on as my guest. That's one of my plans. The Truck Show podcast, Lightning and Holman. Holman comes from kind of a print media background, Motor Trend, and he's got some connections to all that. And then Lightning is a DJ. I think he's got kind of a California, LA DJ background. So very entertaining. I think those two do a really good job. I think they're different. Like, their styles are different and they're different dudes, but they do a really good job of kind of keeping that yin and that yang and that balance. And it's funny and it's very entertaining. So Lightning Holman, the Truck Show podcast, check that out. Our Lifestyle, the podcast. The Round 6 guys are awesome. They do a great job. Now, really, Stubsky's kind of, so Brian Stubsky's kind of the lead on that. He's the artist that does all the work for like Dino and the Get Down. He's done a lot of renderings, a lot of SEMA stuff. He's definitely the lead on the show. They've got 3 guys. They kind of talk amongst each other, and then they usually have 1, if not 2 guests that kind of chime in. But they get some big dogs. I mean, they've had Foose on there. I'm trying to think some of the other big guys that they've had. They've had Dell on there. They've had Yezi on there. The guy Carson, who is legal, I think he works a lot with Foose. They've had him on a few times. I dig that dude's style. I dig that guy's knowledge, and I enjoy listening to anytime Carson's on, and really anybody else that they have. I think they might have had Mike Alexander on, and I try to catch those. I'm trying to think of a few others that they've had on, but the Round 6, Our Lifestyle, the podcast, the Truck Show podcast, and then you've got Kibby and Finnegan, which is now Kibby and Friends. So Kibby and Finnegan was kind of based off of Dukes of Hazzard, but now they switched over. They've got Corndog and Bernie, which Bernie was the producer, and then Corndog was kind of behind the scenes. So now, they're moving out from the shadows and they're coming forward. So Kibby also does Muscle Car podcast. So Kibby's got his hands full there, and but it's fun. They do a lot of reviews of old episodes from Fall Guy to all the Dukes, and now they just did the Dukes movie, and they've had John Schneider on there. They've had Tom Wolpat. So you're getting all the OG guys. They just had what's his face, Coy and Vance. They had I think Coy on there, and I listened to that one. That was fun too. So Kibby and Finnegan, Kibby and Friends, Round 6, Our Lifestyle podcast, the Truck Show podcast. Check those out, because in this world of podcasting, you listen to C10 Talk. I'm glad, I'm honored, I appreciate it, but we got to throw out some love to those other guys too. So they're out there hustling and working it. A couple shows to announce. You've got August 10th, you've got C10s at the Capitol. That's up in Washington, Olympia, Washington. So if you're a Pacific Northwester, C10s at the Capitol. They've got an Instagram. I know that's Todd and Jen Manchester, so check them out. You've also got Squared in the Southeast, or Southeastern Squares. They're on Instagram as well. August 10th, that's out in Georgia. Then, let's see here, C10 Intervention. But before C10 Intervention, somebody sent me one. So if you guys send them, if you email them to me, Ronnie at C10 Talk, I will announce your shows. It's just if you Instagram them to me or Facebook them or whatever, I probably won't, because it'll get lost in the shuffle. So if I get an email on a truck show, I kick it over to a folder, and then I remember to bring it up when I'm in the middle of yapping to you guys on the pre-show Yap Fest. 4th annual Haul in Oz. So this is September 14th, and this is in Beach Lake, and this is kind of a Kansas, obviously Oz. So C10 Kansas, C10 Club Kansas. It doesn't look like they have an Instagram. They have a Facebook. So it's a Facebook group. So if you did a little search on facebook.com/groups, or is that / and then C10 Kansas. And I'm sure you could do a search on it. But GM Truck Show, live music, food trucks. I don't remember if he told me how many they had. 100, maybe 150, but dude, they've got a lot of categories and probably going to give out some cool stuff. So goodie bags and door prizes too. Check them out if you're in that Kansas area. And Wichita, let's see here, presented by Wichita C10 Club and C10 Club Kansas. So there you go. Wichita, Kansas, C10s, boom. Holland Oz. That's on the 14th. So that's Saturday. Now on the 15th, we'll be at C10 Intervention in NorCal. That's in Auburn, California. C10 Intervention. There's still availability there. So if you're wanting to get into the C10 Intervention and you're in that NorCal or Pacific Northwest area, you can still register. I believe they still have spots. So C10 Intervention at C10 Intervention. Then I'm going to make the trek from the C10 Intervention, which is NorCal, with Orange Slice. That's where we're going to debut it. And boom, work our way all the way down to C10's in the Park. That's going to be the following Saturday, so the 21st, I believe. So the 15th is the Intervention, and then I got to get my butt all the way over to Texas for C10's in the Park. That is sold out. That's, he's capping that at 1,000. And like in the first 12 hours, Terry, the C10 mayor, sold out. C10's in the Park. Waxahachie, Texas. Good times, good people, and can't wait. So we'll be there. So there's some shows, went over some reviews, voicemail, speaker thing. If you guys get on c10nation.com and you can leave a voicemail, I think it's cool. I love hearing from you guys. So please, if you have something to say, something that's just like, what's up, shout out. Let's see here. I'm just going. I think it's on the right-hand side of the website there. And it didn't pop up. So, yeah, there it is. Send voicemail. All you got to do on the right-hand side is click it and then start yapping. And you can, it'll send me an email with a voicemail. And if I play it and it's good, well, if it's good, I'll play it. And if I play it, then I'll probably send you something. Usually a shirt. So send a voicemail, sound off. If you got something you want to talk about, something you want to just spit out to the world, C10 world, I don't care. Let's use this thing because I think it's fun to hear from you guys. Send a voicemail. Get on c10nation.com. Check it out. Easy to do. Okay, let's see here. I think that's about it. The only thing that I have written down, well, not really. Okay, never mind. So what I have written down on this is, you know what? I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go back to that. So Orange Slice, I've been working on it. I'm in this mode right now where I'm working on Orange Slice, and I don't want to not work on it. I'm super stoked to be out in the shop. It's hotter than hell here, but it's that phase where I've got lots of boxes of goodies, and I really want to start getting to it. So the last video I did on IG was just kind of going over the rivets and then the bracket that I'm going to use that Kyle over at Metal Ox is making. So, you'll have an update and a follow-up on that. But that was the last IG video, IGTV. I have videos waiting on YouTube. YouTube's tough because it takes a lot of work to get it all out there. I made some mistakes because the audio didn't work. So I need to do some voiceover. And I'll work through those videos. They'll be cut in beyond half because there's no audio. So it'll be me lip syncing over what I think I'm saying. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but that one will be funny. I'll just put it out there and we'll just kind of be funny about it. But that was, we're almost getting to the point where we're caught back up. So you guys will know exactly like, oh, well, I already know he's going to do this because he did this and he Instagram TV'd that and yada, yada, yada. Bear with me on that one. But Orange Slice videos and Orange Slice updates are going to continue to come out. And it's a fun time right now because we're doing some chassis stuff, obviously with the Ride Tech, and then we'll be freshening up the rear end, and we're going to get the brakes on, and then get the bed put back together. So I'll have that thing rolling here soon, and then I'm going to tear off the front, and not tear it off, but then I got to do some work on the front to get it up to speed and some motor work and get some stuff cleaned up. But Orange Slice, so continue with those updates and continue following along on IGTV, C10 Talk, the page, and everything else. All right, so on this episode, Kirk called me because I was on vacation, but he's reaching out to all these different C10 people, and he's like, dude, I've got to figure out a value on my truck because it was stolen and my insurance is not taking care of me. So do you know, he asks me, do I know of a bunch of people that I can refer him to? And by the time I got to the email and whatnot, it was past the point. I think he'd already kind of really been pretty close with everything on his insurance, but we kind of started talking or Instagram talking, and I was like, dude, this is a good story. Let's put it out there. So he gets his truck stolen. Now, that's just the first part of it. So some of the things you'll listen to, but during the episode, I kind of allude to a few different things. So Terry Hill, C10 Mayor, C10ville, the guy that puts on C10s in the park, he had a truck stolen, and what he told me was he put like kind of a locator he had installed. Well, I wanted to confirm that. So I called him and he didn't. I guess the place that was going to do it didn't do it. But what he said he does is he leaves a phone in his truck. And a phone has a locator, and he can get, 2-3 days out of a phone. So he knows, hey, if I'm going to leave my truck for a certain period of time, I'll put my phone in there and I can locate my truck. I don't think locators are going to be that much I need to find out. So, I think a lot of these guys that have these used car lots, the buy here, pay here, drive away, I think they probably have some of that technology on those cars because those guys are buying in low and taking off with their investment. So I'll find out, and I'm sure one of the listeners has got to know. So if you're out there in the C10 Nation, shoot me an email, Ronnie at C10 Talk, and let me know if you have a specialty or if you've bought one or put one in your classic truck to protect it, or your daily. I mean, you might have, and I've got to, there's got to be somebody out there that knows more about this. So hit me up. I would appreciate it, and then I'll pass it on to the C10 Nation. Another thing was USAA was his insurance, or is his insurance. So I know somebody that works for USAA. When I talk to them, they don't offer a classic insurance. So part of the problem is a modern insurance company, let's just take State Farm, Geico, whatever. They're going to see depreciation. Whereas I think a Hagerty, I use American Modern, one of those insurance companies, they're going to have appreciation. These trucks are valuing or gaining in value. They're not depreciating like something that, a newer one off the lot. So you'll hear kind of the story. But when I talked to the USAA person, the bottom line was they're not classic. And the way they made it sound, they don't offer a replacement level, like a known level. Like if you feel like it's $25,000, then we're going to give you $25,000 if something should happen. With the classic companies, if you go back to episode 97, we had Jack the appraiser on, and he went through it pretty in depth about what you have to do to protect yourself and your classic truck, car, whatever it is. You got to get it appraised. You got to have an agreed value with your insurance company and or agent. And the other thing that can happen, if you think about it, the trucks could appreciate so much that you need to have it, obviously reappraised. So just be mindful of that when you're out driving around or hauling your vehicle across state lines and you're sleeping at a hotel. When we go to, LST or C10s in the park, or when we go up to the C10 intervention, wherever we're going, that's something that I stress about all the time. So some things that you can do. If you have a truck on a trailer, back your trailer up to a wall somewhere where they can't, offload your truck. Make sure you keep your keys, with you. And I don't know, maybe just from watching movies in the 80s, I always pop that coil. I pop that coil wire, that main coil wire. And I'm thinking, dude, I have the keys, I have the main coil, and hopefully I've kind of arranged my truck to box it in. I'm trying to think where we went, where we had like a convoy of guys, Dino and myself, and we were somewhere in Texas, and we all aligned these trailers kind of like we took up a long row of parking because we just went long ways back to back to back. So we made sure the front, either they're butt to butt or, nose to butt or however you want to look at it. But I think Dino's nose was, in my butt, but all right, maybe not. So just a funny there. But bottom line is, if you put it somewhere, you position it somewhere where you can't get the truck off, you just help yourself every little bit that some dickwad is not going to mess with your truck, because that's nothing more than what they are, is, just assholes. I can't believe that people are still shit, but they do. And we know they do. So don't be ignorant. People still shit, and it pisses me off, but it does. I hate it. I hate when people steal stuff. So that's it. 144. Little pre-show, kind of long probably for normal. Sometimes I whip these out, but we got a lot to get through, and you guys will like this. Kirk, thank you for sitting down with us. Thank you for sharing your story. I guarantee somebody is going to make some adjustments in what they do with their vehicle, and we can make a difference with that. Another thing that I do is I club stuff. I try to club my stuff like crazy. I tell my son all the time, you better get your ass out there and club that thing. I don't know. I just feel like that's not the end of the world, but at the same time, if I can make one little deterrent, a club, something small, just so they won't mess with my truck, then I guess that's what I'm trying to do. All right, guys, have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. I don't have next week's episode recorded, so I'll probably not drop something for the last week of July, but we'll be back in full force for August. I really am trying to drop these on Tuesdays again, so that will be August. Let's see here. That will be August 6th. Wow. Yeah. So that'll be nice. So let's tune back into Taco Tuesday. I enjoy that. C10 Taco Tuesday. I like dropping them on Tuesdays and keeping them out there for you guys. Keep it fresh. Keep it fun. Do what you do. Make sure you rate and review us. I appreciate it. Share the pod. Let everybody know about C10 Talk and the C10 community and the C10 Nation and how rad it is. And it's rad because of people like you. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Late. All right. C10 Nation in the house. Mr. Kirk Stricker, and Kirk has a pretty crazy story. So I'm on vacation. You guys probably know that, and I get a couple emails and some texts and some different things. Somewhat, frantically looking for some comparisons. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to my email at all until I got back home, and at that point, Kirk kind of told me the story of what happened. So, every now and then it's really good to have this type of story, unfortunately for him, but fortunate for us, so we can learn from other people's mistakes and hear the story. So, Kirk, welcome to C10 Talk. Thanks for being part of the C10 Nation, and let's tell the C10 Nation what happened.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being on the podcast, man. I love listening to you, and first of all, I have to tell every listener, thank you so much for supporting me through this whole process, and how many people shared my my Instagram or my Facebook, how many people that literally sent out condolences and really tried to help me recover my truck, and it's pretty cool when you think about this community and how close we are when things like this happen. And so my way of giving back is kind of telling a little bit about the story, and hopefully as people listen, it'll help them not have the same issues that I did.
I agree. And the nation is amazing. And, I've said it, you've said it, the people are great. The trucks are cool, but the people are cooler. And I'm almost just like, I'm pissed because I love helping people. Obviously that's what I do. And this is one of those unique circumstances where I was kind of trying to be off the radar, but nonetheless, things are going to work out. It's kind of cool. So tell us a little bit about your background and who you are, because as I kind of got to know you social media wise, I'm just like, how can some guy be this cool? I mean, not only do you have Kirk Stricker, and then you're a Black Hawk pilot. I mean, there's only so much coolness somebody can have, and somehow you ended up getting, possibly more than your fair share.
Dude, I've been pretty blessed. So, we're talking about just cool names. My dad's name is James Leroy, and of course my parents are Star Trek fans, like you kind of alluded to. My name is James Kirk, so you can't go wrong with that being a pilot. But grew up in Wyoming. My grandfather, this is kind of where I literally picked up into getting into cars. So my grandfather had a salvage yard, and he had 1,100 to 1,300 cars, dude. So you name it, he had it. And when I was 13 years old, I was like, this is just amazing, right? Had some cool old C10s. He had some old Ford trucks. He had just anything you can imagine. So he helped me build my first Mustang when I was 13 years old. And I've been building cars ever since. So what I did is I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18, and I was active Marines, active Army, National Guard Reserves. And it's not necessarily who says no, but it's who says yes. And I went through the National Guard to be a UH-60 Black Hawk pilot. So I've been a pilot since 2004, and I've been a bank manager, a corporate recruiter, and then on top of it, own my own Land Rover automotive repair shop. So I've done a lot of different things.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot jammed up. I assume, let's go back. Where in Wyoming did you grow up?
So are you familiar with Cheyenne, like the southeastern corner?
Very familiar, yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up there, north of Cheyenne, about 85 miles, small town called Torrington. And you think about small towns, like farm rural communities and stuff, and everybody respects their own thing, right? You wouldn't think of a vehicle getting stolen or anything like that. People left keys in the car. And this is back in the day, right? So I'm 44, and literally we left our shotguns. We had our rifles in the back of the truck, and we never had any issues, and that's kind of how I grew up, probably a little naive in some ways.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, that's primarily one of the reasons I asked. And where I was last week was I was back home, I would say Montana home. I call Arizona home, and I love Arizona, but man, every time I go back to Montana, it definitely makes me realize kind of that smaller town feel and spending time with family. And, again, my town that I grew up in is 6,000 people. And then I moved to Mesa, which at the time in the mid to late 80s was about 250,000 people. And obviously, Phoenix. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. You kind of grow up and you look back and, you're thankful for that time where you could just leave your car keys, in the ignition, right or wrong or indifferent, front door open, screen door open, and, grow up in that time frame, not only in that location, but, back in that 70s and 80s. Cause I'm 45. If you're 44, we're talking about the same era.
Oh, definitely. And what's crazy is, so I'm back at Fort Rucker, Alabama. My buddies all mess with me. So of course I'm an instructor for flight school students. I was doing the ground portion, but and I left my keys in that truck everywhere I went in town, everywhere in Alabama. Never had a problem. I left the door to my house unlocked. I mean, never have an issue. It's just how people respect each other. That, and I also think there's a certain amount of respect in that they're always kind of probably a little scared as far as walking through that door, unwelcome,
Well, it's a different world.
Respect.
Yeah, it's a different world for sure. So did you kind of grow up, grandpa taught you how to wrench? How did you end up going from, you have a very diverse kind of story. So a kid from Wyoming grew up kind of wrenching in a salvage yard. You become obviously a helicopter pilot, but you're also a bank manager and a recruiter and a shop owner. So you've got all kind of, you got more hats than maybe Trey 5, because Trey 5 wears a lot of hats.
I think what's really helped me as far as having that background is I just learned how to work hard. Like, my mom, she was a single mom. We grew up on food stamps. I learned how to work when I was 12 years old, starting to work in my grandfather's salvage yard, or I was out there setting water for my other grandfather. He had a farm of 700 acres, and all I've ever known is how to work hard, dude. So I've been presented with different opportunities, and I've been blessed with those type of opportunities. Like, for instance, when I left active duty from the Marine Corps, so I had 2 MLSs in the Marine Corps. I was an Amtrak, and I did counter intel for a bit, and then enlisted in the Army as a tank commander. But I had an SCI clearance, and so I drove the brigade staff, and that was pretty cool in Korea. But I went back to California, right? And here I am. I'm at a job fair. I have no clue what I'm doing, and this lady from Washington Mutual, she's a recruiter, as we're talking, she asked, so, what are you looking to do? What have you done? I said, well, I led troops, in the Marine Corps and the Army. And, I don't know. And she said, well, have you ever thought of banking? That's pretty quip or naive or however you look at it. And I said, well, everybody needs a bank account, right? And she and I both paused, and she looked at me and kind of befuddled, and she said, yeah. And we kind of laughed, and next thing you know, I became an assistant manager and a bank manager for Washington Mutual and JP Morgan Chase. So, it's kind of capitalizing on those different types of opportunities that I didn't really think would be beneficial, but it really gave me a good background for business. Because I started coaching businesses on how to understand profit and loss, and how to market and customer service and all those kind of things, and then recruited my own staff and stuff. So it really helped me be well-rounded as far as an owner or a manager, or, something in that sense of, knowing each aspect of a business and how to make it fruitful and, lasting.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, as I'm listening to you, you said well-rounded. I think the C10 Nation is well-rounded. We're such a diverse group of people, and as time goes, we, I was talking to a guy today, Mr. John Orrell, and we were just shooting the shit, really. And it was one of those things where we were kind of alluding to the way that we have all become friends and how there's just so many really good people. And there's walls that, get put up, whether they are meant to or they're perceived a lot of the time. But one thing that we said was, we might not have all hung out in high school or a certain time frame, but you come to kind of, the trucks have really brought us all together. And it's amazing how you can literally go to a show, go to an event, and if you meet a dad that's into cars or trucks, or you go to specifically a car show, and you start chopping it up with a guy, you might have had a different path at a certain point, but that path brought you to where you are now. And you have so many different paths and roads and the journey, but that journey has brought you here. And now, you're on C10 Talk and part of the C10 Nation, and you were part of the C10 Nation plenty before, but it's just cool to think, yeah, maybe Kirk and I might not have run around before, but now you get together and you really can't focus in on the past. You only look at the future, and it's just a cool thing. I know that's kind of deep. It's just one of those things where I just think that we're blessed and we're lucky that we have really good people, diverse people, well-rounded people, just like yourself, from businessmen to helicopter pilots to the guy that just wrenches, for a living, the guy that cuts meat, the guy that's a firefighter, the guy that's a cop, the guy that's a teacher, the guy that manages the school bus, system, and the salesman, the insurance salesman. Everything goes on and on, but we are lucky and we have a really great group of people. And as long as we understand that, I think the C10 Nation and the C10 community is going to be really, really well off.
I agree. It's kind of crazy. It brings that commonality. It brings a lot of people from diverse backgrounds. They would, like you said, would maybe or maybe not necessarily hang out with each other. Different income backgrounds, different levels of education. And it just brings everybody to the same point of appreciation or appreciating classics, right? And when you're looking at the C10s and just in how this whole how it's just grown is incredible. I mean, think about when we were kids. I mean, C10s were kind of cool as a kid. It was an old truck, that kind of thing. But nothing like what they are today. It's just really amazing what the hobby has really moved into, or how it's really grown, and how people have just really they just come together,
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that brings us to probably the main reason why you're here today, is because the trucks are so damn popular that somebody took it upon themselves to whether they were borrowing it for an extended period of time or just stealing it.
Yeah, so you got to hear this story, right? And this is something I'm telling you that I just told a friend of mine today, a new friend. I just started dating my girlfriend. She broke up with me about 2 months after I went to Alabama. But
so start from the beginning. You get the truck. Lay this thing out for all of us.
Yeah. So I get this truck as I moved to Alabama. I was going to use it for my shop. Pretty cool truck, and literally So if you guys look at my Instagram, you'll see it. It's so ugly. It was cool. I mean, it was kind of like a gold patina. The wheels were amazing. They're red line tires. This really spoke to me, and especially a GMC, because you don't see a lot of C10s. I have a 63 C10 that I spent over $70,000 in. So totally different truck. So I bought it for like $23,000. And here's where I want to lay some the groundwork here is that I had to get an appraisal for USAA to do the loan. Now that appraisal came in at $26,000. I got a loan for like $23,500, maybe $24,000, something like that, right? So USAA has the appraisal of $26,000, and it's actually a certified appraisal. They wouldn't take anything else, and they were very particular about it. So I get it, and then I get my loan through USAA, and oddly enough, I get car replacement insurance, which is pretty good. It cost me like $2.50 a month, and I didn't really think much about it because the representative said, yeah, it's pretty good. It's like car replacement, it's like Gap, in case something happens. Well, I thought I'd be safe, and I totally forgot I did it. But let's fast forward. And so, I mean, the truck was kind of a hot mess mechanically. So put in a new engine. I went with a 350 crate, and of course, all new parts and all new wiring. The whole truck really had that redone. Started redoing the interior. Spent over $800 on a bench seat, just redoing the interior, making it look really cool. Of having the interior look a little bit more not modern, but more, I'd say probably newer, but really neat. So did that, and then did the Dynamat and everything else. The suspension was amazing. Had to redo the brakes, but at the end of the day, I spent $14,000, and it was like I sneezed. It's like, and I did most of the work myself. So when you think about doing it with having a shop, that would have cost a lot more. But here I am. I'm in Alabama. I'm getting ready to leave. Put it on literally get it out of the shop. 3 days prior, had a brand new 350 engine in it, maybe 15 miles. We drove it around, had a brand new dual exhaust on there. Sounded amazing. And,
so was it a crate motor?
Yeah, it was a crate motor from Jegs.
Okay.
I mean, really kind of cool. It looked a little retro, like a GM auto wrench, with the black covers, and it was kind of neat. Definitely fit the attitude of the truck. And so you've heard of the butterfly effect, right?
Oh yeah. C10 Nation, are you thinking about upgrading that motor? Well, PSI is your go-to source for LSX conversion wiring harnesses. They have been in the LS conversion business for 10 years, or I like to say, C10 years. They specialize in standalone wiring harness for GM Gen 2, 3, 4, 5, LS and LT-based engines and transmissions. Aside from harnesses, they offer components and kits for retrofitting older vehicles, PCM programming, fuel systems, engine sensors, replacement GM pigtails, and so much more. All harnesses are made with pride in the USA. In-house full-time technical support to help you with all of your installation questions, after-sales customer support, and a 4-wire hookup to make the installation process as easy as possible. For our listeners, go to psiconversions.com/C10 Talk. psiconversion.com/C10 Talk. Use coupon code C10 Talk and you will get a free shirt and free shipping on orders over $250. Free shipping and a free t-shirt. So if you're going to switch out that motor and upgrade to an LS-based motor, you're ready to go with PSI. C10 Nation, you've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Don't forget the interior of your build. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. Whether you want a direct fit into the stock bezel or something custom. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. The new RTX series is really incredible. I think it stands for retro, but it should stand for RAD. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. You can change the lighting colors, customize the reading in the message centers, and do it all from the mobile app. That's right, the HDX and RTX series have Bluetooth technology, so you can mess with them from your phone. Just don't do it while you're driving. I mean, literally, I can have Yellowstone. I'm looking at RPM, trip odometer, percent fuel, oil pressure, and now I have the GPS set up. I can tell you direction, elevation, and even outside temp. Damn, son, it's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. And you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook too.
You've heard of the butterfly effect, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the butterfly effect, man. Here I am. This is where I start the story. And I need to write this down, do a screenplay or something, because you can't make it up. It's kind of like Falling Down with Michael, I think it was Michael Douglas or Michael Douglas, right? Did you ever see that?
No, I saw the show, like the Pay It Forward one, but I'm trying to think of the one you called Falling Down.
Falling Down is where Michael Douglas really has a bad day and it just gets really bad and it keeps escalating.
Okay.
So what started was I had a cat. My son's cat.
Like a meow meow cat, like a Dino cat.
Yep, like a female kitty cat, and
not a caterpillar, not a big machine.
Nope. So I wanted to ship her back with my son and I and his mom. She and I are divorced, and she wouldn't watch her. So this kind of started it. And here I am. I'm getting out of the hotel in Meridian, Mississippi on a Saturday morning. And I'm kind of spacey, and I forget stuff all the time. So what I did is I took my luggage down, but I forgot the keys to the truck. So what do? I put the luggage on the neck of the trailer, and then I go get the cat, and I put the cat in the truck and that type of thing. I get in the truck and I drive off. Well, I only go right next door to get gas. I mean, literally, I drove maybe a block, right? So it wasn't that far. I get out of the truck and I'm thinking, shoot, I forgot to put my luggage in the back of the U-Haul. So I go back there and it's gone. So that's literally somebody stole my luggage. I had about $2,500 worth of clothing in there. And, I'm just.
What kind of clothes do you have, bro? Because I don't have that much money in my suitcase.
Well, I mean, it's literally my whole entire life as I'm moving, so like think about boots, and I had some military clothing and just everything in that, and I had like different cologne and all my hygiene bag and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy on how much that stuff adds up.
Now, did you think that it might have fallen off? I mean, I assume you thought of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. So I drove back. I mean, I even walked everywhere. I went to the hotel. I asked. Nothing. I started searching dumpsters to see if somebody may have just taken it and threw away something. Couldn't find anything though. So I'm beside myself. I call who do I have? I had State Farm Insurance. So I called them and said, here's the situation. Initially, they said I was fine. It's like, so here's another plug I want to tell you about insurance. So I actually owned this house in Alabama for about 14 years, and I had it rented out for 12 of those years. So when I moved back, I went and I called State Farm, and I said, hey, I need to, or I'm moving back into my house. I need to make sure I have insurance. And I said, oh, you have impounded. It's fine. I said, so I can move it from, renters to, homeowners, and I'm okay. Said, yeah, we'll take care of you. Well, I never got any paperwork or anything like that. I'm moving 300 miles a minute.
Sure. So
didn't think anything about it. So come to find out on Monday, as I'm calling everybody and their mother, that insurance was actually still a renter's insurance. So they weren't going to cover the loss. So that kind of started it, right? Well, so on Monday, where am I? I'm in Dallas, Texas. The whole reason why I stopped at Gas Monkey Garage is because my ex-girlfriend and I, we had an amazing time when we moved out, and I bought some T-shirts. Well, those T-shirts were stolen. So I have my truck outside of Gas Monkey Garage, and guess what happened? I'm like walking out, and this employee comes running out, and he starts talking. He's like, hey, I see your truck, and would you sell it? Yeah, the price was right. And so we started talking a little bit, and said, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I have probably about 40 grand in there. I'm not sure how much I have into it, and told him what I had appraised at. And I just want to be fair. And he said, well, Richard wants to talk to you. So Richard comes out, and of course, Richard, I'll tell you, Richard is an amazing guy. He just down to earth and extreme. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, have you?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
a
few of his ex-employees probably don't think so, but when I have met Richard, he has been nothing but fine and good to me. And we actually did a little funny video. I was out there probably about 4 years ago, and we did just a funny little clip where I had literally told him thanks for the beer, and we were all in his shop, and he kind of said, well, if you think that's funny, let's do this. So we kind of did this little skit thing where I grabbed the Miller Lite and I was getting ready to drink it, and then he swooped it out of my hands, and he said, get you some of that or something like that. But my interactions with Richard have been very brief, and every time I will say they were always really positive, and the guy was always nice to me. But some of his ex-employees might not think that way, but I don't think Richard cares. So he's good to you. He comes out.
I don't think he did either. But I'll tell you, from a business standpoint, if anybody ever gets a chance to talk to him, he is just incredible as far as talking about how he set up a plan, but he is very gracious. I mean, very kind, gracious, and he understands customer service. So anyways, as we talk and we come to a price at $23K, and like, all right, so guess what? Discovery Channel is there. And so we set up a script and we literally do the whole, we film it. And I'm thinking, man, if I'm going to sell a truck, might as well sell it to Richard Rawlings at Gas Monkey Garage, because he's telling me what he's going to do to it, because as a GMC, he's going to change the letters to GMG and do some other things that would have been pretty bitching for the truck, like, man, just take it to that next level. He could do it, So anyways, at the end of the episode, after we did everything, I'm sitting there talking to his title guy, Tony, pretty cool guy. And he says, hey, did you realize you had 2 VIN numbers? I said, yeah, there's some kind of issue. And I didn't really think anything about it. It's like, it's through the state of Ohio and it's legit. And it's like, well, I'm not sure. There's 2 VIN numbers, and state of Texas is really anal. And so we messed with it and tried to figure out the story. And he's like, so he told Richard's like, hey man, and this is after about 3-4 hours, and Richard and I had some beer and hung out and talked and stuff. And he's like, man, I just don't feel comfortable doing it right now. And Richard's like, I want it. And so anyways, Tony's like, if you can figure it out and get, a couple of the titles and make sure it's legit, we'll buy it from you. So, okay. So Richard puts me up in his hotel, or in a hotel, Holiday Inn Express, right next to Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. And my whole plan the next morning was to go to the Texas DMV. I got both titles. And so the story of the truck is, back in 2000 to 2007, this one owner had it, and the engine caught fire. So he wound up buying it back from the insurance company, because it was a total loss. And instead of salvaging the title, which he should have, because it's a classic, literally nobody cares anymore, unless it's like something, I don't know, like it's a Corvette and its numbers matching, or I don't know. You see what I'm saying. Anyways, what he does is, instead of salvaging the title, he gets a Ohio assigned VIN identification number. So it had 2 VIN numbers, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I had both titles that showed it, and I was just going to fix it. Well, in the middle of the night, I found this out the next morning. Somebody wanted the truck more than Richard or I both.
So when you bought it, let's go back. So when you bought it, what state did you buy it in?
I bought it off of eBay. It came from Kentucky.
Okay, and then when the title shows up from Kentucky, there's 2 titles?
So Kentucky doesn't do title. They do what am I thinking?
Bill of sale, pink slip.
Bill of sale and registration. That's it. And that's the same thing with Alabama. And the Kentucky dealer, he bought it from somebody in Ohio.
So you had to kind of call the Kentucky guy you bought it from, and then Kentucky put you with Ohio? So in Arizona, and I can only speak like, I guess I bought Montana, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, California, and Oregon. So I've always had a title. Now I know one friend who there was a pink slip, but no title. So that was Cali, but that was a friend. I've gotten the pink, which clears the title, and then I've gotten the title. And then in Arizona, we have to go to the DMV because we have to prove that it's an out of state and that the VIN matches, and then boom, they assign us an Arizona title. So having no title, that's crazy. That's I can't even imagine that you don't have to have a title in Kentucky or Alabama, because that's scary. Well, actually, I bought one from North Carolina too, and it had a title. So that's so nonetheless, you don't have a title. You get it from Kentucky. You get a hold of Ohio, and they tell you there's 2 titles or 1.5, or why wouldn't it default back to the original title, even though it's salvaged? Those numbers should be. Is that just because they totaled it?
So what happened is the state of Ohio, they wound up taking the assigned VIN number. So they assigned a 2000. They made it, or basically took a '69 GMC truck and turning it into a 2007 GMC truck. with this assigned vehicle identification number. So that's why it was kind of funky.
Mm-hmm. That was the new one?
That's the other reason. Yeah, so there's a new one. Now, what I was going to do was just revert it back to the old one, and it would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done that through the state of Texas, and it wouldn't have been an issue. And then you just take off the old one or the assigned one. You know what I mean?
So you go back to the hotel and you already knew all this, or you were figuring it out kind of as you go?
By the time I went to bed that night, I figured it all out. So what I did is I actually got a light, and I wound up, going along the bed of the frame and made sure that the VIN number matched the truck, and it was fine. That wasn't an easy process in the middle of the dark, by the way.
Sure. You want to tell everybody where to look on the frame?
Yeah. So on a 69 GMC, 69 C10 or GMC, you can literally look right underneath the cab, and also on the right side over by the steering box.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some numbers there. There's going to be those two sets of numbers. There's also, and this is what's kind of funny, is on the glove box. The glove box has a paper VIN number. I mean, it's just a paper
your SPID
sheet, data sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That data sheet has your VIN number there too.
Yep. Also your B post.
Yep. And your body, right, on the back part of the cab, or the door and the left door on the cab.
Yep. So your B post will have a plate right there. The biggest thing is the frame. So for the audience, even if you have a truck that's been shortened, a frame, if the guy cuts it in the correct spot, you'll have the VIN should still be intact. So you'll have two spots on the left frame rail, so driver's side frame rail, one by the motor, where the exhaust dumps out. You'll see the VIN will be on the frame there, and then the VIN will also be on the frame just about underneath your butt. And if it's cut right, they can miss that, and then they can still seam that together. Well, let me take this back. That's on a 6772. So on a square, I'm actually not sure if the VIN is stamped in the same spot. On orange lights that's getting cut, I have not seen any VIN. So his truck, a 69 GMC, and on 6772s, you got your SPID in your glove box. Try to always buy a truck that has a SPID. That's huge. Look on your B post, which is your door jamb, and then those two places on the frame.
Yep.
So you're a first title, Ohio title, had that VIN, or the new 2007 also? So which one had the truck's VIN on it?
Well, the original one.
Okay. And then they just assigned a new VIN to it? Yeah,
so they just assigned it. I think it's 17 digits is from 2000 on up, or 99 on up, or something like that. I can't remember what the cutoff year. It might even be a little bit newer than that, or older than that. But it's like 17 digits. So they assigned 17 digits as a VIN number for it.
Okay. So you get back to the hotel and you kind of work through it, and you're like, okay, I got this.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. I'm like, man, this is going to be cool. I get to tell everybody that I was on Fast and Loud. I sold the truck to Richard Rawlings, and literally it's going to be taken to the next level, you know?
And I think you said $23K is what you kind of agreed to?
Yes.
Okay. Now that seems cheap, because that's about what you bought it for, and you put like $14K into it.
It is cheap. But I understand business. When somebody's buying a truck, I guarantee Richard wasn't going to sell it at 23. So that when you're talking about value of the truck, he probably would have sold it for anywhere from like 29 to 33, 35, depending on what he did to it too,
Yeah. I just wonder if he wanted it that bad. I mean, I'm thinking, shit, I'm looking at your truck and I'm like, dude, if I'm looking at your truck and I get it for 23, I'm happy about that. So I feel like you could have got, and obviously Richard, I don't know how he does it, but sometimes he walks away from, you're like, how did he get that so cheap? So I'm just kind of wondering, like, if you said 40 and he said, no, I want 20 or 25, and then you just kind of worked to a certain point, or how that went down. If you just said how much, and you said, no, 23.
Well, so I started off at 27, and he's like, hey, and so I was pretty honest. I said, I own a shop, and I've built several vehicles, so I'm not trying to make it a like crazy amount of money on this. I know, and I've seen enough of your shows. He kind of laughed. But I said, I've seen enough of your shows. I know that you have to get this so you can flip it and have some value in there. I said, so I need 27. He's like, man, I just can't do it. But literally we went back and forth, and he was there for about 20 minutes. He's like, listen, I really want your truck. And I said, okay, so here's the deal. I owe 22.5 on it or whatever. You can have it. And then we'll go from there. And he's like, 23? I said, deal. And, I think for me, the reason why I did it was more just because of who he was and how he did it. It wasn't like he was trying to bend me over, and he knew where I was. He knew I was losing money. So it's just one of those things. I was probably just more excited to see my truck on Fast and Loud and see what they're going to do to it.
I'll be honest with you, Kirk.
You know what I mean?
I totally respect what you're saying. I really do. I think you're being really honest and really sincere, and I think it's cool. I think your truck is worth more than that. I think your truck is probably worth, honestly, 35 to 40. But I totally get where you're coming from, and Richard has that. He's a polarizing guy. Maybe not to everybody, but he is a polarizing guy. And to think, hey man, I live once. I get to sell my C10 and. I get to be on Fast and Loud and Gas Monkey Garage. And I get to see him do the GMG instead of the GMC. So I appreciate your honesty, and I totally get it, man. It's cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, wake up the next morning, right? We wake up the next morning, and my trip's always already kind of just ups and downs, right? So get my luggage stolen, sell my truck, and then not sell it, and now I know I'm going to sell it, and so I walk out. So
before you go to bed, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the way my brain works, tell me, what did you do to the truck? It's sitting on a U-Haul trailer. It's sitting on an open trailer behind a U-Haul box van, and it's just strapped down. Or explain that to us.
So and here's where I was a little lazy. And I thought more about convenience of getting my truck out because it was really muddy. There's a storm that went through like a night or two prior, and it literally flooded half of this lot. It was all dirt lot, and so it flooded it, and I almost got my truck stuck the night prior in another hotel, right? So what I did is I parked in a convenient area where I knew that I could, make a big wide turn and get out, and so that's what I do, but it's behind a 26-foot truck, and it's on an auto trailer. The auto trailer has straps, and so as I walk out the next morning, of course I see something missing, and I just, I had to laugh, man. Like, what in God's green earth else can happen? So I walk out there to assess the damage, and what happened is I look at the U-Haul truck, and somebody took, like those spreaders probably, on how you open up windows and that kind of thing, like a blow up or something. It looks like they did that, but it was more on the windshield piece. So somehow, or they took something, that got in the windshield and just broke the door open. They found the keys, and this is what was really weird.
So you left the keys of the truck in the U-Haul?
Yes. And the reason why I do that is because I forget everything. I mean, dude, I literally forget everything. I forget my wallet. I forget my phone. I forget my keys. I'm a creature of habit. And so the day before, as I was getting in and out of that truck, I wanted to make sure I didn't lose the keys, right? Because I only had one set of keys. So I set them inside of a, just like a, like a little cubby in the U-Haul truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think anything about it, dude. I normally would have put them in my bag or something like that, but I don't know. I was so excited, and I set them there and just didn't think about it. So I go back to the U-Haul trailer. It looks like they tried to steal the U-Haul trailer, which is funky.
So another thing I'm thinking, where were you backed into? So like a lot of times we'll back up into something like a wall or something. This is just kind of out long ways, so you can just kind of go straight. So there's really nothing behind the truck then?
No. So if for all the listeners have been to Dallas and actually went to Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, you'll see there's a Holiday Inn Express. It's kind of like, there's the parking lot for Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. As you look out to the left is this huge parking lot for Holiday Inn Express. But it's a big dirt lot too, and that dirt lot was so muddy that I couldn't back it up against anything or, make it hard to pull off. So that's the first thing, like I got a lot of people being armchair quarterback said, well, you should have done that. Well, there's a reason why I didn't do it. It's because I literally would have got my truck stuck. Thinking about being fully loaded and that kind of thing. So, it was open for the pickings, man. And, which is still kind of ironic to me that somebody did it, but what they did is they staked it out. And so I got a little bit of video from Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, and, you could see the car, there was like a, silver or gray, Chrysler 300 that literally staked it out till about like 1:30 or so. And it's, their, camera actually goes off by motion. So there's some motion, and then about 2:50 a.m. there's another vehicle that comes up there, and so you can see these guys. They're kind of messing around a little bit, and it's too fuzzy, of course. But there's another part where you literally see the 300 drive off, and then you see the truck drive off. The hotel video showed the guys trying to disconnect the truck from the straps, and what they did is they just wound up cutting the straps. And there's two of them that went in the truck, and then there's two in the car.
Wow. You said you were kind of laughing when you saw it. I'm sure that you were almost like laughing and crying. I mean, it's one of those things where I would have just been outraged, You
feel violated, dude. I mean, honestly, there's things I could have done, and this is where I go back to all kind of stuff I could have done to make it, where it wasn't, where it would have been harder to steal. Like I could have had a kill switch, or I could have, put the keys in the bag and took the bag in. But if you're dealing with somebody who knows how to steal an old truck or car, all you have to do is hotwire that thing. I mean, you can literally lift the hood, and you can spark it. You know what I mean? These vehicles are super easy to steal. So I've always kind of had that mentality. But even then, you just feel violated. This is something that somebody took without earning it, buying it, or anything else, and felt that it was okay to do. So.
Yeah. And I've had things stolen from me, and it's one of the worst feelings. You're exactly right. It's like, it pisses me off. I mean, it really frustrates me when people steal from me or steal from people. It's just it's a shitty deal. And, you're right. There's a ton of things going through my brain saying, what the fuck are you thinking, Kirk? Like, I mean, you got a beautiful ass truck. I've been to at least one of the wherever they had like concerts there, and I think it's the same one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, for the audience, I mean, we'll come up with some lessons learned at the end of this, but people will take your shit. So, I think, maybe some Wyoming upbringing, and like you said, you're just a creature of habit. But man, I'm maybe I'm a little anal. I beat my son's ass if he doesn't put the club on as the OBS he's driving, because I'm like, dude, people will steal your shit. I mean, they will. People will steal your shit. So you wake up, it's gone. You're shitting your pants. Crazy.
Yeah, so I literally call a buddy of mine that I grew up in high school with. It was pretty cool. I call him, or I text him through Facebook. He's actually assistant deputy or assistant chief of police there. Tell him what's going on, and he's pretty cool as far as, I'll get one of my detectives down there pretty quick, and I called 911, but it was just nice, to have that extra support. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. One of the things I found is that one detective has over 300 open cases, and she's on a staff of 5 other officers. So when you think about how easy it is to steal, fuck, man, that shit is not coming back unless literally they find it in a chop shop or get really lucky by somebody being stupid. They're just not. It's super hard for them to get it back. They don't have the man hours. They don't have the time or anything. They don't have they don't even have, the ability. You think that with all the cameras that we have, you'd be able to pull it up. And I was talking to a Texas Highway Patrolman that he's one of the guys that texted me on Instagram and was telling me, like, hey, give me your VIN and your license plate. And he did a search and couldn't find anything. So I'm assuming they probably took the license plate off pretty quick. But what's even crazy is when you look at the license plate to take it off, it had an Alabama disabled veteran tags, so, and then on top of it in the glove box. So because I was moving, I had literally all the receipts in there. I had the registration. I had the insurance card. I had probably everything that somebody could probably sell to somebody else and literally be Kirk Stricker.
Yeah. That's
so when you talk, like literally being vulnerable, I left myself very vulnerable, which I did not. I just took it for granted being in Alabama for the last year or something. I don't know, because I'm normally not that way.
Well, I mean, like you said, it still may happen. It's not over yet, and your identification and all those numbers are out there. So I'm sure you'll take the resources, to file and make sure that, the credit agencies and so on and so forth, because somebody's going to, they may throw it out. They may just be car thieves, but usually bad people know other bad people, and they can sell that information or they can do crazy shit with it. Next thing you'll know is you just bought a new, Mercedes or some shit like that. Or I've had mine stolen. So cell phones, furniture, and a lot of other stuff. And then finally they figured it out that it wasn't me, and it's a pain in the ass, and your credit cards, and you have to change all that shit. And it's just it's just the world we live in. And honestly, at 3:00 in the morning, 2:50, whatever, these guys are beating feet to a shop. They know where they're going already. They're going to get to a shop. They're going to break that thing down. They're going to let it sit for X amount of time. They're going to, spray paint it, whatever. I mean, I'm not a car thief, so I don't know exactly, but I assume, and I guess I've watched a few shows, so whether or not that's true or not,
right.
But it doesn't make me a professional car thief analyst. And I'm sure you've talked to plenty of the cops that are telling you what's going on, but it's a shitty deal, man.
Yeah, we've all seen Gone in 60 Seconds, right? But, the thing is with these trucks, and I'd actually be kind of bummed if anybody ever painted that truck, because it was such a cool patina. But it was very noticeable too. So there's only a couple things you can do with that thing. You literally tear it down, like you said, sell it for parts, but then it's, you might get like $7-8 grand. And I suppose that might be worthwhile if somebody got a truck for free. Or you might be able to take it to Mexico. Shoot, that's pretty easy to do. Or what the cops said they may do is, try and pose as me and sell it to somebody else that has no clue and doesn't do their research. And next thing you know, they sell it for like 15-20 grand, and that person's out 15-20 grand. That's one of my biggest fears that happens. Somebody else gets taken on it.
Yeah, I wonder, that does suck if you don't have the title. So there again, if you don't have the title, you guys make sure you get that title so you can. I had a deal one time where I had to do a bonded title, and I was so stressed about it because there was some kind of, I don't even know if it was a divorce or something, but it was an old Blazer that I bought years ago, and 72 Blazer, had to do bonded title, and it's not fun. So the amount of money that you might save or think you're going to save, and that particular situation worked out, but try to make sure you've got just make sure you've got a good, clean title, and we'll do, lessons learned. So go ahead.
And then also know that in these states that don't have titles, you may want to just take a little bit more of a research as far as, the VIN number, do a VIN search and spend that extra few bucks, make sure it's, run it through a database, make sure it's not stolen, because there's still and it's mostly the South. There's something with the South that literally they don't really care after a certain year that they don't do titles on them.
Yeah, and I've never, ever had to deal with that, so I just don't know. I'm just so inexperienced with that, and if I reached out to some dude in Alabama or Mississippi or wherever the hell out there, and they're like, no, I ain't got no title, I'm like, well, how the hell can I buy your truck? Oh, I got a bill of sale. No, the bill of sale says that we bought it, but the title says that I own it. I mean, so that's, that'll be a whole new segment on titles per state. C10 Nation. For over 16 years, truck builders continue to choose AccuAir suspension for their air management solution. Today, that choice gets even easier. Endo CVT by AccuAir. CVT. Compressor, valve, tank. Takes all of the components that previously needed to be pieced together and integrates them into an all-in-one, easy-to-install unit. That means an internal compressor with a built-in air dryer, smart sensors to keep everything running smooth, valves in the tank caps, and a plug-and-play harness. The best part? Silent. Library silent. No more buzzing compressors. Finally. Are you ready to choose the latest and greatest in air management? See it and try to hear it for yourself by heading to endo.accuair.com. That's endo, ENDO.accuair.com. Classic Performance Products, CPP, has a few new products out. Let's start with their new HydroStop Street Beast hydraulic assist systems. CPP's HydroStop Street Beast is a direct fit, high-performance hydraulic brake assist system that works great when running a performance engine setup and there is not enough vacuum produced to operate a traditional booster. Simply plumb into your power steering system and share the fluid reservoir with your power steering pump to your high-performance brake system. Assembled with all new parts, this unit puts out an amazing 1800 PSI at the wheels. How about their new 14-inch big brake kits? CPP now offers a 6-piston, 14-inch big brake system for your Chevy truck, featuring 2-piece pre-assembled drilled, slotted, and zinc-coated rotors, 6-piston billet aluminum calipers with DOT-compliant dust and weather seals, premium stainless hardware, and braided stainless brake hoses. These brakes work with their modular and Corvette-style spindles. Remember, use C10 Talk at checkout and save 10% off your order. Damn, son, 10%? www.classicperform.com. So let's get into insurance, because I know that's technically so walk us through it. You've got your buddy who you went to high school with. He's a cop. He put you with the cop, another cop. They're looking for it. They're working through it. You're like, how the hell 24 hours ago, I'm sitting there drinking a beer with Richard Rawlings selling this thing for $23K, and now it's gone. So I'm thinking, dude, Richard's got it. I'm joking. Sorry, Richard. Richard didn't steal it. Okay. That was what I was thinking. I was like, dude, it's at he puts you up at his hotel, or his, hotel next to the bar that he's part of. And next thing you know, Richard's got himself his GMG. I'm joking, Richard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was actually really cool about it the next day too. He had when he found out, he had the guys put, on their Instagram, and everybody shared it, through Gas Monkey Garage, and that was pretty cool for them to, get the information out, because the first 24 hours is actually the first 8 is kind of the most crucial, where you might find somebody that actually sees it, right? Because that's when it might be out and about. But like you said, at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's dark, man. They probably didn't take it very far. And it still could be sitting in Dallas right now in some warehouse or garage.
Yeah, I assume it is. I really do. But so how do you move on? What do you do?
Gosh, so that's where we're talking right now. How do you move on? So that goes back to where we prefaced it by, I bought the truck with an appraisal, approved appraisal for USAA. And this is where I'm a little irritated at USAA, because I'm still arguing the point that I purchased the truck with a $26,000 value. They did the loan, and then I gave the same, and then of course got the loan, right? Well, when it comes down to actually doing appraisal or actually doing a valuation, they use this outside company, and they get a couple old GMC trucks. And the thing is, I don't even know, I have no clue what they used. So my appraisal shows the pictures of the trucks. It shows the value. I mean, it was a legitimate appraisal, like 35 pages long. And when I see the valuation, it has these two prices. One's like 15, the other one's 18 grand or something like that. And it has this generic value comparison of mine versus theirs. And they came up with an evaluation of $18,000. And for all you listeners out there, go to my Instagram and tell me you're going to buy that at 18 grand, and I will laugh, because it's not going to happen. You just can't. The rear end. I talked to the guy that actually did the differential work. He literally shortened the differential on it. I think it had 305 by 20s in the rear. Those tires alone were $400 a piece, not including the wheels, which were probably about $600 to $700. And then you just add all that up, the value, you cannot compare that to a stock old GMC pickup.
So what about the gap insurance? What were they saying about that? Because it sounds like you had a replacement or gap insurance.
That's the cool thing. This is the cool thing about USA. Aside from the shitty ass value, the cool thing is that the gap insurance gives you 20%. It's called car replacement. Gives you up to 20% of the value of the vehicle. So, and also the taxes. So they'll add the taxes in at the value of the vehicle. So it's like 18 something, about $1,700 in taxes. And then they add 20% above it. So they wound up giving me about $23K, which is kind of ironic because I still owed $22,000 on the truck. But here's where I am fighting it, and I'm not taking their valuation. So I have a valuation of 26. They have one at 18, and I also sent them pictures and also every receipt that I did to that truck from the time I got the appraisal to the time it was stolen, and it added up to $40,000. So, there's just a little bit of common sense. It's one thing to sell your truck at $23,000 to Richard Rawlings, and it's another one for the company to say, or USAA to say, you know what, your truck's good enough to get a loan for say $23,000 with a value of 26, but and I understand the different divisions. But the other division, the insurance division, say, you know what, we're going to cut that cheap and give it to you at $18,000. You got to have some consistency with business, right? Even if they are two different divisions. And USAA is such a huge a credit union, and they cater to military. And when you think about, like, they do auto loans, classic car loans, which I'm thankful for. It's a little bit of a pain doing it, but they've always been amazing doing it. I had 65 Mustang that was very similar. They wound up giving me the Blue Book value on a 65 Mustang Fastback. It wound up being in Mustang Monthly, and Carol Shelby signed the dash. I had over $55,000 in receipts in it, and they appraised it at $60,000. And they also gave me a loan. I think it was like 35 or something for it. But I also had a ton of money in it, so that was a situation where it really worked out well. That was back in like 2009. So maybe their underwriting guidelines, or maybe they just became a lot more stringent or strict or whatever. But I don't think it's much to ask, to at least get the same value or meet in the middle on appraisal. Here's your evaluation, here's my appraisal. Let's meet in the middle. That's all I ask. Well,
you said a few things. You said, because you said it even about Richard. You said, well, he's a businessman and he wants it for 23. You're thinking 27. The irony that I'm hearing, though, is, and the audience just, you got to listen, is the bank wants to give you money. They make money on you, them giving you money. And then the insurance, they make money on not giving you money. So those two, entities of that bank or insurance company, they're definitely out for themselves and their business. One thing I wonder, can you, or have you thought about, you can sue your own insurance company. I mean, it happens all the time because of this exact same reason. People will say, listen, you insured me for this much and now you're not insuring me. So, I'm assuming that it doesn't have to go to litigation or, a court. And is it something where you can still get a few more evaluations, or is that door closed, or where's that looking, or where's that going right now?
So I because I've been going back and forth, I have not got an answer on it, but I do know they have a second level of review. And what I'm doing is I'm just keep paying in my, like $400 payment, and I'll just keep getting a second level, a review until somebody looks at it and says, you know what, this makes sense. Let's meet in the middle, or let's do this, because I had a classic car appraiser do it, And, you'd think as a consumer or somebody that is getting a vehicle written off, you'd be able to see what vehicles were used to compare against your own. And that's one of the things I wanted. I wanted to see, what are you guys using? So I could literally, take it to an attorney, or I could do it and take it to an independent appraiser and have them take a look at it. And you know what I mean?
Did they say, will they tell you what they're using?
So far they haven't, and I keep asking for it. They're really hard to get a hold of. But those were vehicles that were sold, right? So, but the thing is, whether it's sold or not, it's still nice to know as a consumer, what vehicles were utilized to give my vehicle the value that they did.
100%.
And that's all I'm asking.
No, 100%. Now, I hope you have a high school friend that went to law school, or your high school deputy chief has a friend that went to law school, because if you can pay or just have somebody write you a letter on a legal letterhead with a, lawyer, esquire, they'll start to listen to you, because they then, to take you serious. It's such a weird deal where they'll just bully you. And, I don't know, maybe we should have we've had an appraiser on before, and we've had the guy that lost his in the transporter. That was an amazing story as well. And I told Kirk, I said, dude, let's do it. Let's put you on the air, and if we can help and prevent it from happening, and somebody from the C10 Nation, puts their keys in their, jeans or whatever, or, there's all kinds of things that we can talk about. But the insurance, they're going to, I feel like they do that. I feel like they take your money, and then when you need them, although every other commercial on the radio or on TV is an insurance, Allstate, from Farmers to Allstate to what's the one, Flow, and then the other guy is the hilarious guy where he's State Farm. You have the one, what's that guy, the one that does all he's the barbecue, it falls over and lights a fire. Bottom line is, we just turned this whole thing into an insurance commercial, but you just gotta tell them, and I would think for sure a 69 GMC short bed with a new motor, wheels, tires, narrowed rear end, all the things you could go through, and
brand new exhaust, freaking electric fan, a brand new aluminum radiator. All new wiring. The wiring alone was just professionally done, and add that all together, that adds some value to a vehicle that they may be comparing to some farm truck. Who knows?
Yeah, well, they didn't compare it to a farm truck when they wanted to give you the money. And like you said, now they are comparing it to an undervalued truck, because honestly, I don't know when you bought this truck, but C10s are only doing one thing, and that's not depreciating. So even if they gave you 26 a year or 2 years ago, that truck should be worth 30 just to pay, on appreciation alone.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And here's the other problem that I had, and I didn't think about it. One of the reasons I loved that GMC is because it was a GMC. I have a 63 C10, big back window, short bed. It's a super cool truck, but it's not a GMC. How many GMCs do you see, especially that's that cool? Pretty rare. So I really wanted something different. And what bit me in the butt is they will not compare a GMC 1500 to a C10, because the C10 adds a certain level of value to it. And even though they're basically the same truck, at the end of the day, it's, some chrome and, some different add-ons, and they're the same truck overall, but in value, they can definitely vary quite a bit.
So you're saying that they're giving you a C10 value, and that value is higher than a GMC, or what are you saying?
No, what I'm saying is that it was hard. It's hard in general to get a valuation on a GMC pickup, because there's not many that are being sold. Yeah. I would think that there's more GMCs being sold than some super rare car. You could, you'd have to dig in. Exactly. And we all compare them, equally, a C10 and a GMC. They are the same, but it is probably quite a bit less GMC 69 shorties being sold out there. So I would almost think that would help you to prove that it's possibly more rare or more valuable. to you, or to the right person, all day long, because it is more rare. I mean, you just don't see them that much. It's a cool truck, but that goes back to the appraisal. So there's a couple things I learned. One of them was that you need to have get an appraisal every year. Kind of what you said, the value of the truck, it costs like $300-400. It's actually worth it to do it. And I don't know if you guys want to do that every year, but it might actually save you a lot of money in the end of the day if it's a total loss. It doesn't have to get sold and be a total loss. You could wreck it. There's so many things that can happen at any given time that might put you in the same predicament as me when you're talking about insurance.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to see guys do them every year. If that's the case, then I'm going to open an appraisal business, Ronnie's Appraisal. I'll come out once a year and I'll remind you every 6 months. But you do have to look at eBay. I'm sure they look at different things, and unfortunately, for them not to divulge what they're pulling that value, I don't even know how they can do that. That's not fair to you. And it's not even, the thing about it is it's not consistent, because I'm sure you've said it until you're blue in the face. You son of a bitches gave me $26,000 because you told me the truck was worth $26,000. So you gave me $23,000 to take, the loan. And now you're only giving me $18,000 when, ironically enough, 2 years ago, that's what the truck was worth. So the truck's actually worth $30,000 now, because if you look at it, so on and so forth. And again, I mean, we're a broken record in the sense that I'm sure you've thought of that. You've went through it. You've proved that you have $40,000 in receipts, professional work done. And, we're nowhere right now. It seems like you're probably going to have to either dig in really deep and find a bunch of stuff and get different evaluations. You obviously can't go get an appraisal done because you don't have a damn truck. So where do you go?
You actually can get an appraiser. So I talked to a couple guys, and I should have asked them if I could give their name out, because it would have been good for business. But anyways, I talked to a couple of professional appraisers, and one of them said you can actually do an after accident type of appraisal. I can't remember how he called it or what he called it. But basically like a damage assessment after the fact, if you have enough pictures. So the other thing is, if you're not going to, get your vehicle appraised often, make sure you take frequent pictures of it, and take pictures of everything you do and document it well. And that can help you out tremendously. So if you do have a total loss, you can say this is when they were taken, and they're fairly new. So that could have helped too. Which I have all those pictures of me building it, but it still takes me back to where USA is giving me nothing for it.
Well, you just made every C10 Instagram guy's day, because it's like, hey, your wife's, holy shit, you have 6,000 pictures on your phone and only 2 of them are of me. Well, Kirk told me I had to take a lot of truck pictures, babe.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's all these other guys' trucks from the truck show. That's nothing that you. Oh no, those are over here. It's those are under the lock and key on my phone. So, but that I think with Instagram and social media, we should see a lot of. There are probably more pictures than insurance, appraisers are even used to. Obviously on our end, because I'm taking pictures of everything. Some memory, some how to put something back together, some because you're showing it off, so on and so forth. So what would you be happy with? What value?
I would be happy if they gave me the value at the price I purchased it at. I would actually be happy with that. Richard was going to give me 23, right? Mm-hmm. And we both agreed that he didn't buy it at 23, so he could sell it at 23. He's a businessman, just like we all are. I honestly feel it'd probably be worth about 29 to 30 something. But at least, and this is where I go back to, they gave me a loan based on a value that I gave them, and that's the only way they would give me that loan at $23,000. If they would do that at the bare minimum, I actually would be somewhat happier than $18,000. That's an additional $5,000 they give me.
Yeah, so 23 plus the tax plus the 20%. Then you'd probably be at 28 to 30. I mean, I'd have to do my Mesa Public Schools math, but yeah.
Yeah, then
Uh-oh. Did we lose you? He got all fired up and he hung up on me. Damn it, Kirk. We'll have to get him back. I don't think he realized that He just hung up. So let me see if I can get him back here.
I'm still here.
Oh, you're back. You're back. You put me on mute. No?
Oh, it's weird. So I have you on my headphones, and they must have unplugged.
Oh, okay. The insurance agency just wired in. They just tapped in, and they're pissed off now. We've got a third caller. We're doing what is it? Party line back in the 80s. We got party line going.
Yeah. Perfect.
USAA just intercepted the call. So yeah, you'd be happy
nice.
at 20. You'd be happy at 28. Welcome back. You'd be happy at 28, and I think if we get this out there, we get you in the right hands with the right people, you'll have more proof and you'll have more substance to take to them, and hopefully you can keep that second party review going and keep making your payment, which that sucks, but hopefully you can prove that, hey, I just made 4 payments over the last 4 months, so it's another $1,600 out of my pocket to try to get $5,000. Essentially, you don't want to throw good money after bad money, but you're a businessman and you'll figure that out.
Right, and I mean, at the end of the day, I might be losing a little bit on interest, but I still think it's worthwhile to at least pay another month or so and see if they'll come around and give me 23. I'll get 28, and I think that's fair. That's fair. That's all I'm asking USAA to do. We'll see if they do it.
Okay. Well, we will follow this story, Kirk, and the C10 Nation will do some due diligence. I know they will, because that's the type of people like we talked about at the beginning, and people are going to hear this and comment. If you could go back and say 3 things to do different, or 3 things to really, I've kind of been making a little bit of a list of, appraisals every year, making sure you have a replacement value, gap insurance, anything that you can really say, these 3 things I know I would do different, or I would advise that your audience does to protect themselves in this situation.
One of the things I did in the past, like my 65 Mustang that I told you about, that was actually insured through State Farm, and I had that vehicle insured at $60,000, and it was kind of crazy. It wasn't classic insurance or anything else like that. A lot of people say you have to get classic insurance. You really don't. But if you go to an insurance company, ask them if you can do that. But make sure you have an agreed value with the insurance company at the time of when you purchase your insurance. I think that would have alleviated a lot of issues. It probably would have helped me out. It's something an appraiser told me recently. The other thing is make gap insurance. Gap insurance is actually pretty key to have. $2.50 on this old truck, and I think it might help me out some. The other thing is, protect your investment, not only through that, the insurance piece, but, think about how, I had so many people talk about kill switches or, how to park your vehicle, a U-Haul in the middle of the night and to where nobody can get to it. Always just be aware of your surroundings. Don't be complacent. And I will tell you, from my background in the military, it caught me by surprise. I literally was complacent in many different ways, but it was by a sequence of events. It was a sequence of events, and it rained super hard, and I couldn't move my truck, and to protect it in a certain area. I probably would have moved my truck in front of the hotel, right outside. It would have been a lot harder for a thief to do that. I don't think they would have had the balls to do it. But being out in the back of an alley, or not back in an alley, but, like out in the back pasture kind of, they had a little bit more balls to do it. And so those are the 2 biggest things I would do. The other thing is just really, take pictures and make sure that you keep all your receipts. That was actually kind of, fortunately, with receipts and how they're done, I had everything electronically, like within a day of doing it. But if you keep it in your email and just set it aside, it's always good to have those receipts.
Yeah, be organized, be patient. One thing that the C10 mayor, Terry Hill, C10's in the park, C10ville, He had a little slope nose square stolen, and then what he did is he got the little GPS trackers and he has them on his trucks now. So I know he's told me, but I don't recall exactly how much that is and was. But if you had a tracker on there, X amount of dollars, then depending on how good they are, if they have a little wand that they can use to try to find that, or, I'm sure there's very, like you said, gone in 60 seconds. Some of these guys probably have that type of technology, but if you have a GPS tracker, then you could, something to consider, not necessarily for you now, hindsight, just for our audience.
Well, the other thing I was thinking about is my radio actually had CarPlay, or not CarPlay, but it had that Bluetooth capability. So on your phone, on your maps, this is something people to think about. So, when you park your vehicle, when you have Bluetooth, it'll tell you where your car's parked, right? So the very first thing I did is I looked to see if I could find it that way, and I couldn't.
I think your phone, I don't know what you changed, but it's definitely, you're a little harder to hear now. So just FYI, I don't know if it's just the speaker.
Maybe is this better?
Oh yeah, mucho good.
Ah, better. Okay.
So Bluetooth in the stereo.
Bluetooth in the stereo. It's kind of like CarPlay. It'll where they tell you where you parked your car. I had that capability in my truck. Downside is I think you have to have it turned on or something. It tells you last place you left it. It doesn't tell you when it's moving. So it kind of goes back to your GPS tracker, of maybe having like a satellite or GPS or something. And gosh, that'd be really easy to do.
Yeah.
Just put it on the truck somewhere. They're not going to look for it.
No, I don't think so, depending. But I just didn't know if you put some good old George Strait on and you just drove, up and down the industrial complexes. If all of a sudden all my exes live in Texas came on or something, you'd know right away. There's my C10, baby.
Exactly. But not that the patina didn't show up well enough, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like it was. It wasn't like resale red or blue. That bad boy. I guarantee anybody would be able to see that truck.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens of it. Keep us informed and let us know what happens, and I can let the audience know. I'm sure people will reach out to you. We're happy that you shared the story. We're not happy that it happened. I think at the end of the day, 23, you're coming out at almost the exact same, that you were. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously, the luggage thing sucks. Hopefully, they're going to help you with that. But it's just as much about principle. They're taking my money. Why are they not taking care of me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I do want to make sure I wrote down on my notes is thank you for your service. I mean, this guy has served us. He's been on active duty. He's flying over. He's a Black Hawk pilot. Kirk, I don't know how long are you staying? How long is your MOS, or when can you retire and completely be a non commissioned Black Hawk pilot or instructor anymore?
So I'm currently a division safety officer, which is kind of cool. I'm an aviation safety officer, and I support a division in the Army Reserves. And I'm at 24 years. I can retire any time. It's actually just a pleasure of serving and doing something I enjoy doing. I love safety. I literally believe in how to help units be more safe and not be complacent, oddly enough, as we talk about that. And you just hopefully help, more soldiers get home safe to their families, and I've seen some crazy things happen. I had a buddy of mine, actually a couple buddies, shortly after we returned from Iraq, turn a Black Hawk on its side. And we've all lost, in the aviation community, have all lost, service members and friends and family, to just weird accidents or arms, fire, or just anything in general. And then you think about the ground piece of it, and there's so many accidents on the ground piece that, just really is humbling, because, we have so many service members die, that should not die that early, from error. and making a mistake. And things happen fast when you're going 120 knots, and things happen fast when you're going 65 miles an hour.
100%. So, I mean, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. And for all those service, men and women out there, thank you all for serving. And, it is unfortunate that we've lost people, over the course of our lifetime for sure. So, C10 Nation, you guys can follow him at BlackHawk6974. I think there's an underscore there, correct? BlackHawk_6974. Is that correct?
Let me look real quick. I think it's just all one.
Okay. So BlackHawk6974 or maybe underscore. Let's see what he says here.
There's no underscore.
Okay.
Just BlackHawk6974.
BlackHawk6974. Obviously, if he's 44, he was born in 74. James Kirk Stricker. And let's find this 69 GMC. Thanks, brother. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate yours. And thanks, C10 Nation. You guys have been amazing.
Keep us in the loop here, and we'll update guys as things come in. So again, thanks, Kirk.
Will do, man. Thank you.